This week, I'm going to lead you through a strengthening slow flow practice. Our peak pose is the balancing half moon pose today. So with our slow flow, we are preparing the body for this final peak pose. Let's get started. For props today, I have 2 blocks, one at each end of the mat, because we are going to turn a little bit around. So if you know that you might want to use blocks, then see if you could have one at each end, and then you don't need to move the blocks around. We're going to start from standing up. So find yourself in a comfortable, easy pose, close to the top of the mat, so that you have space behind you. We're going to do a little bit of breathing, and then we're going to go straight into the flow. So either bring both hands to your lower belly, or you could bring one hand to your chest and the other hand to your belly. And just give yourself a few slightly deeper, slightly slower breaths in and out. You might even close your eyes and focus on sending your breaths down to your hands. If you start to feel dizzy or wobbly with your eyes closed, then open your eyes and just focus your gaze somewhere a bit lower down. So you're not looking around, but starting to turn your awareness inwards. Allow your shoulders to soften. And just notice where you have your weight on your feet. Is there some weight on the heels at the back of the foot? You might rock your weight back. Is there weight on the balls of the feet, on the toes? You might rock your weight forward. Is there weight on both feet, on the right and the left? You might rock a bit from side to side. Then look for a place in the center. Where can you find your center now? Some weight on the heels, some weight on the front of the foot, some weight on the right, some weight on the left. And then give yourself a few more breaths there, grounding your weight down onto your feet. So you can feel your pelvis is on top of your feet. Spine built on top of the pelvis, and then head resting at the top of the spine without you needing to tense yourself too much, but everything's just resting on top of each other. And then if you have your hands on your belly, on your chest, slowly release the hands and arms down. You could open your eyes if you want. And then with your next in-breath, send your arms up overhead. And as you exhale, bring your arms sideways down, back next to your sides. And same again. Inhaling, arms up. Feel the feet pressing down as you lengthen your arms up. And exhale, bring arms down. Keeping tops of the shoulders soft. Once more the same. Inhaling, arms up. Pressing down through the feet. And exhaling, arms down. Then we'll start our first longer flow. Inhaling, arms up, again overhead. You might even look up. And then exhale, bend down into a full forward bend. Folding forward from the hips, you can bend your knees. Inhale, extend your back into flat back. You could have your fingertips on the mat or hands on the shins. And with an exhalation, bend back down. Bring hands onto the mat. You can bend the knees deeper. As you inhale, step your left foot far back, finding yourself in a runner's lunge. Left knee still off the mat. Leave your left hand on the inside of the right foot. And then as you inhale, circle your right arm up towards the ceiling. Exhale, circle the right arm behind you and back down, almost touching the mat. Same again. Inhale, circle the right arm up, twisting chest out to the right. Exhaling, circling the arm down. 2 more rounds. Inhaling up, opening the chest. Exhale, circle the right arm down. Let your chest, your shoulders move. 1 more time. Inhaling up. And exhaling, circling the arm down. Bring both hands to the mat and step into a plank pose. Press both arms, both hands down. Inhale. And as you exhale, you can bring your knees to mat first and then lower yourself slowly down, bringing belly, bringing chest down, releasing the toes. And then step hands a bit wider apart, maybe to the edges of your mat. We're going to inhale, peel the chest off the mat, lift up into a cobra. Can be lower down, can be higher up. Exhale, lower back down. Supporting yourself with your arms. Same again. Inhale, peel the chest off the mat. Elbows can turn out to the sides, opening the chest. And exhale, lowering down. 1 more time with your in-breath, pressing down through the hands, lifting the chest off the mat. You might even look up if that feels good. And exhale, lower down. You could step hands a bit closer to your shoulders. Inhale onto hands and knees. And then exhale, round your back into child's pose. Pelvis can come down close to the feet. You can bring head down. Leave your arms long overhead. And if you want, you could lift your hands onto fingertips, the cupcake hands. If that doesn't feel good, then don't do it. You can keep the whole palm on the mat. Take another breath in and out. And then ground your palms on the mat. Inhale, lift onto hands and knees. We're going to tuck the toes under. Exhale, lift the pelvis up into downward facing dog. You can adjust your hands, you can adjust your feet. Reaching the pelvis up. Keeping tops of the shoulders relaxed away from the ears. So the strength, that support comes from your upper back. Take another breath in and out. Heels don't need to be on the mat. And then we're going to step the left foot forward, go into that runner's lunge on the other side. So now with your next breath, step your left foot forward, close the hands, and leave your right hand on the mat on the inside of your left foot. As you inhale, circle your left arm up, opening the chest. Exhale, circle left arm down, almost touching the mat, and we continue that circling. Inhaling up, twisting through the spine, opening the chest. Exhale, bring the arm down. 2 more times. Inhaling up, then twisting. You might even follow the hand with your gaze. And 1 more time. Inhaling, circling the left arm up, opening the chest. And exhale, bring both hands on the mat. Now we're going to step the right foot forward. So step your both feet forward to your hands. Either fingertips on the mat or hands on the shins. Inhale to flat back, engaging through the whole back side. Exhale, bend all the way down into a full forward bend. Head can drop down. And then as you inhale, roll the back up. You can bend the knees. You can reach arms overhead. And exhale, release the arms down. Take a couple of breaths in and out. And roll the shoulders. And then we're going to do balancing chair pose. So now have your feet about hip width apart where you feel grounded. We're going to inhale, lengthen arms in front, like you're placing your hands, your arms on a shelf. With your next exhalation, press down through the balls of the feet and lift your heels off the mat. Keep inner ankles, inner heels kind of reaching towards each other. Either stay here or exhale, start to bend your knees. So you're sitting down into that chair, but keeping heels off the mat. Keep your back long, keep reaching up through the crown of the head. Very active feet, active inner legs all the way from your ankles to your inner thighs. And still breathing. Take another breath here. And then as you inhale, extend your legs, still keeping heels off the mat. And exhale, release the heels down. Bring arms together behind the back. Interlace your fingers, and as you inhale, open your chest. As you exhale, bend down into a full forward bend. You can bend your knees or you can keep your legs extended. And you might start to extend your arms away from the back. If that feels painful, you can always leave hands onto your lower back. You choose what feels good for you now. Keep your feet still very active. Now feel the weight is on the heels and the balls of the feet. Take another breath in and out here. And then with the next in-breath, lift into a flat back, halfway lift. Bring hands onto your lower back as you extend your back, opening the chest. Release the hands and exhale, fold forward into that full forward bend, bringing hands on the mat. Now from this forward bend, walk into a downward dog. So step your both feet back, still keeping the pelvis lifted. And then we're going to go into kind of a twisted plank pose. Now from this downward dog, take your right foot and then cross your right foot to the left side of the mat and shift the weight to the side of the foot. So you're on the inside of your left foot and the outer edge of your right foot. Lower your pelvis into a long straight line from head to your feet. Now you can either hover here or as you exhale, lower the pelvis just a bit further down. And then inhale, lift your pelvis up. And you can continue this movement. You can exhale, lower down, keep your arms active. And then inhale, lift the pelvis back away from the mat. We could do 3 more rounds. Exhaling, lowering down. Inhaling, lifting up, really activating that right side body. 2 more times, exhaling down, inhaling up. 1 more time, exhaling down. And inhale, lifting the pelvis up. And then we're going to bring that right foot back, step into downward dog, head dropping down. And exhale, bring your both knees onto the mat. We're going to go into the melting heart, the puppy pose. Leave your hips roughly on top of your knees and walk hands a bit further forward on the mat. Inhale. And as you exhale, slowly lower your chest down, your head down, either all the way down onto the mat, or you could bend your elbows and then bring head onto your forearms, but with the intention of opening the chest down towards the mat. A couple of breaths in and out. Just opening the chest the opposite way after that sideways plank or twisted plank. Take another breath in and out. And then slowly lift your chest a bit higher up so you can bring yourself back onto hands and knees. We're going to lift into downward dog. So lift up onto hands and feet and then come forward into a regular plank. So as you inhale, shift the weight forward. Then see if you can keep your knees off the mat. As we exhale, lower slowly down, bending the elbows, then chest, then belly comes down, release the toes. Now we're going to bring arms behind the back. Again, interlace fingers, lift into a full cobra pose. Reach head and feet away from each other, press down through the front of the pelvis. And then as you inhale, peel your chest and the front of the legs slightly off the mat. Trying to keep the legs extended, opening the chest away from the mat. You might look forward if that feels good, but you can also look down to the mat. See how your neck feels. Keep inner thighs active so you feel that connection between the right and the left leg. Take another breath here, in and out, breathing towards the chest bone. And then as you exhale, slowly, slowly lower down. Release the arms, bring hands under shoulders. We're going to lift into downward dog. So inhale onto hands and knees. Tuck the toes under. Exhale, lift up into that downward dog. And then we prepare for that twisted plank on the other side. So now take your left foot and cross that left foot to the right side of the mat, so that now the weight is on the outside of your left foot, inside of your right foot. And then you can either stay here, hover in this plank, or exhale, lower the pelvis down. And inhale, lifting up. Again, exhaling down, really working through that left side body. Inhale, lifting up. You're also pressing down through the arms. You could do another 3 rounds. Exhaling down. Inhaling up. Exhaling down slowly with control and with your breath. Inhaling off the mat. One more time, exhaling down. Keep your hands spread, your fingers spread. Inhaling off the mat. And then we step back into that downward dog, lifting the pelvis up. And now walk your hands and feet together. They could meet somewhere in the middle of the mat. Shift all the weight onto your feet. Bring hands on the shins or fingertips on the mat. Inhaling to flat back. And exhale, bending down. That full forward bend. Head can drop down. And then as you inhale, lift yourself up, rolling up through the spine. You can reach arms overhead. And exhale, release the arms down. And again, you could roll the shoulders here. Take a couple of breaths in and out. And then we're going to test our balance with moving between the lunge and warrior 3. So now find yourself into a high lunge. We'll start by stepping the right foot forward and stepping the left foot far back. Don't need to go into a full lunge because we're going to be playing with shifting the weight forward and back. Now I suggest we bring palms together. But if you want, you can also have arms on the sides or even overhead. You decide. Really grounding down through that right foot. Feel the whole foot is on the mat. Inhale and exhale here. And then with your next inhalation, shift the weight onto your right foot, lifting the left leg up into the air behind you. And exhale, tilting a bit further forward into warrior 3. Take another breath in. And then as you exhale, lower that left foot back down, back into that lunging pose. And we'll do same again. With your next in-breath, shift the weight forward onto right foot, lifting the left leg up. Exhale, lengthening a bit further forward into your warrior three. Breathing there. And then exhale again, step the left foot down, back into that high lunge. And we'll try one more round, grounding down through that right foot. As you inhale, send the weight forward, lifting the left leg up. Exhale, flying further forward into that warrior three. Breathing in and out. And then we're going to lift the left knee to the chest. Lift your back up. You could reach arms overhead. And exhale, bring your feet down, release the arms down. You can move your feet, move your ankles. And we'll do same on the other side. So now leave your left foot in front and slide. Step your right foot far back into your lunge. And again, find the distance where you think you can still step forward. And again, I'll suggest here as well, palms together. But you can choose if you want to have your arms on the sides or maybe even overhead. That's maybe the most challenging variation. Breathe in and out, grounding down through that left foot. And then as you inhale, shift the weight forward. Exhaling into that warrior three, tilting forward, reaching head forward. And next exhalation, step the right foot back down, back into that lunge. Breathing here. Same again. As you inhale, shift the weight forward. You're kind of pulling the weight onto that left foot. Exhale, fly further forward. Standing leg knee could still be bent. Exhale again, step the right foot down. Breathe. One more time. As you inhale, send the weight forward. Pull the weight onto your left foot. Reaching forward, reaching back with that right leg, reaching forward through the head. And then as you inhale, lift the right knee to the belly, to the chest, reaching arms up. Bring your right foot down, and as you exhale, fold all the way forward into a full forward bend. Head can drop down. And then we're going to step into downward dog, and stepping both feet back. You can stretch your calves a bit here. You can press one heel down, then press the other heel down. Maybe let both heels sink down. You don't need to force them on the mat, but just feeling that weight through the heels sinking down. And then as you inhale, come forward to plank. Reaching head and heels away from each other. Inhale here. And then with the next exhalation, again, try to keep your knees lifted as we slowly lower down onto the belly, onto the chest. You can release the toes. And we go into a longer cobra. You can again step your hands a bit further to the sides. And then inhale, peel the chest off the mat. And I'll find a cobra where you could stay about 3 breaths. You don't need to fully extend the arms. You can if that feels good. And you can let your elbows turn out to the sides. Keep your legs still active. Keep shoulders released away from the ears. Take another breath in. And then as you exhale, slowly lower your chest down. Come up onto hands and knees and round your back into child's pose. Knees can be wider apart, knees can be close together.
You could bring your head down on the mat, or you can bring hands under the head if you want. Leave your elbows on the mat and bring hands together behind the neck, behind the head. And take a few breaths in and out here. Just allowing the heavy pelvis to sink down. Just allowing your breath to calm down as well. Take another breath or two in and out here. And then slowly bring your hands back onto the mat. And we're going to slowly lift up onto hands and knees. Tuck the toes under. Lift up into a downward dog. And then from that downward dog, you can walk your hands and feet together. Shifting all the weight onto your feet. Either fingertips on the mat or hands on the shins. Inhale to flat back. And exhale, bending down that full forward bend. And then as you inhale, roll the back up. If you want, you can reach arms up. And exhale, release the arms down. And take a couple of breaths here. Roll the shoulders, move your feet. And then we're going to prepare for our peak pose, our balancing half movement. And for this, you could now open legs wide apart and turn sideways on the mat. So turn facing the long side of the mat. We're going to go from one end of the mat to the other end of the mat. And we're going to start by balancing on the right foot. So if you have blocks, you could have your one block weighting close to the right end of the mat. We're going to rotate the right hip, the right foot open, so the right foot toes turn more to the short end of the mat. And then as you inhale, open arms out to the sides like a big T shape. And we're going to inhale here, really reaching the arms out. And then as you exhale, start to tilt down towards the mat, lifting the left leg up into the air. Imagine you're going between two walls. Now you could either reach your hand all the way down to the mat, or you could have your block there under the right hand. So see where you want to go and how low you want the block to be. Reach your head away from your left foot and reach the left arm up. So we're not diving down, we're still reaching up as well. If it helps, you can flex the left foot, kick the heel away from the head. Really keeping the side body active. Maybe breathing more to the chest. Keep the hips rotated open. Take another breath in and out here. And then as you exhale, slowly bring that left foot down. Lift your back up and reach your right arm up. Circle your left hand down. Turn palms towards each other. Make a little ball between the hands. So hands almost touching, leaving a little space between the hands. And then breathe into that space between the hands. You might feel your belly move as you breathe. Just let your breath sink down, further down. So not breathing only to the chest, but breathing down to the bottom of the ribs, breathing down to the belly. Another couple of times. Because then when we go into that balancing pose, we'll try to keep the belly area more drawn in. And then we're breathing more to the chest, more to the side ribs. Okay, and then we're going to go to the other side. So open your arms again into that T shape, and now rotate your left hip, left foot toes towards the short end of the mat on the other side. And again, you might have your block there. If you only have one block, just move the block now to the other side of the mat. Soften the tops of the shoulders. And then inhale, reach the arms out. And exhale, slowly shift the weight onto your left foot and start to tilt down. So again, you might reach your left hand fingertips all the way down to the mat. You might have a block there. You can bring a block under the fingertips. And reaching the right foot away from the head. Hips rotated open. If the idea of being between two walls helps, you can imagine you're leaning your back against the wall, keeping your chest open to the side. Breathing a bit more to the chest, breathing a bit more to the ribs so we can keep the belly gently drawn in, giving that support. Take another breath in and out. And then slowly, as you exhale, start to lower that right foot down. Bring both feet down, lift your back up, lift left arm up, circle the right hand down, and again, bring palms facing each other. Imagine there's a little ball between the hands. And then breathe towards the hands. Take a few breaths here, in and out. Shoulders soft. And then, as you inhale, open both arms out to the sides. Now toes turn to the long side of the mat. And then as you exhale, bend down into a full wide-legged forward bend. You can bring fingertips on the mat, or even the whole hand if that feels good. Just gently swing your upper body from side to side. You might have your knees a bit bent, or you might bend and straighten the knees as you rock from side to side. Take another breath here, in and out. And then we're slowly looking for a yogi squat, malasana pose. So bring some weight onto your hands so you can heel toe your feet a bit closer together, but still leaving a gap between the feet. We're going to rotate both hips open, rotate the feet more to the side, and then lower pelvis down, finding our yogi squat. And you can still adjust your feet, so let your feet stay mobile. And you can either leave your fingertips on the mat, or you might bring your palms together in front of the chest, opening the chest. Allowing that inner thigh area to gently open, so elbows gently pressing onto the inside of the knees, inside of the thighs. And it's okay if your heels are not on the mat. That's very fine. Take another breath in and out. And then slowly bring your hands back down. Lift your pelvis up. You can turn the toes back to the long side of the mat. And then we're going to walk both hands to the short side of the mat. It doesn't matter which way you go. Last downward dog, reaching the pelvis up. And then we're gonna bring knees down, find a seated pose. So from hands and knees, lean onto one hip so you can bring yourself into a seat. And here we're going to go either for a shoelace pose or you could do the square pose or a cross-legged seat. So if you go for a shoelace, you could have your knees roughly on top of each other, and we'll start with left leg on top. If that doesn't feel good, you can always bring legs into the square shape where you would have your now kind of left ankle, left foot on top of your right knee. And you can always bring some support under the left knee here if you feel that the knee is uncomfortably hanging in the air. Or the last option would be a cross-legged seat where your left shin is in front of the right shin. So find any of these options, what feels good for you now. We're trying to get a bit into the buttocks, the thighs after all those standing poses. And it might be that staying upright feels best for you today. So you can stay here and focus on breathing down towards the pelvis, down towards the buttocks, the thighs. Or you can choose to round your back into a forward bend. If you want, exhale, start to lean forward. You can walk hands further forward. And you might even slowly bring your head down. Now you can stop anywhere along the way. Where do you find a sensation that feels helpful, useful for you today? Both buttocks don't have to firmly stay on the mat. It might be that it's better for you if you tilt the pelvis forward and the buttocks come slightly off. That's very fine. Make sure there's no pain in the knees, no pinching or sharp sensations in the hip joints. But we're really trying to get into the muscles. Take another breath in and out. And then as you inhale, lift your back up. Open the chest, you can roll the shoulders. And then release the legs. You could step your feet on the mat and do a couple of windshield wipers, just swinging the legs a bit from side to side. And then we'll do the same to the other side. And you have the same options here. You can go into the shoelace pose. So now right leg on top of the left leg. And in shoelace as well, you can use some blocks under the knees, between the legs, if that helps. Or you can go for the square pose. Right leg on top. Or cross-legged sit with your right shin in front of the left. So choose any option, and it might be that you choose a different option on this side. If the same option doesn't feel good, then feel free to find a different variation. And again, you can choose to stay upright if that feels good for you right now. Maybe on this side things are different. Or you can choose to lean forward. You might go into that forward bend, rounding your back, rounding your neck. So you might even bring your head down if that feels good. And you might observe if flexing your ankles, your feet makes any difference in the pose. Especially if you feel there are any niggles in your knees, then exploring the position of your ankles and feet might make a difference, one way or the other. And send your breaths down to the hips, to the lower back, wherever you feel the pose most. Take a couple more breaths in and out. And then slowly, as you inhale, roll the back up. Bring your neck, your head up. Roll the shoulders, turn the head. And then release your legs And now bring yourself to lie down on your back. Bring your shoulders, your head down. Leave your feet on the mat. We're going to go into the bridge pose. So have your feet roughly hip-width apart, arms next to the sides, and then as you exhale, press down through the heels, lift your pelvis, your back off the mat. You can either keep the weight on your heels or you could have your whole foot on the mat. Again, you can play with how that might feel different. If you want, you could walk shoulder blades together. Bring hands together, interlocking fingers. And then breathe here, just a counter pose after those forward bends. Take 1 or 2 more breaths here, in and out. And then slowly, as you exhale, release the arms, release the back, release the pelvis down. And a few windshield wipers, allowing your spine to twist so you can rock the whole pelvis from side to side. You can turn your head from side to side as well. And then find your resting pose. It could be a Shavasana pose, legs extended. You might enjoy a butterfly pose with soles of the feet together, knees turned out to the sides. Any pose where you feel you could give yourself a couple of minutes to just rest. Check in how you're feeling now. If you want, you could bring your hands back to your body like we had in the beginning. So you could have both hands on the belly, or maybe one hand on the chest, on the ribs, the other hand down on the belly. You could close your eyes. Now you don't need to balance anymore. And just let your weight, your whole body sink down towards the mat. Allow your exhalations to soften tension. Allow yourself to just enjoy breathing here. Nothing else to do, nowhere else to be. Just here on your mat, breathing in, breathing out. If you notice that there's tension in the neck, you might rock the head a bit from side to side. You might also choose to lean your head all the way to one side, if that feels better. Give yourself another minute or two here. Letting yourself rest. Give yourself a few more breaths in your resting pose. Just observing if you feel that you would then be ready to come out of your Shavasana pose. Or maybe you need a bit longer time. You can stay longer, as long as you want and need today in your resting pose. If after those few breaths you feel that you'd like to start waking up, coming out of the pose, gently start to move your fingers, your toes, your hands and your feet. You could rock your head from side to side. You could lengthen arms overhead. Reach hands and feet away from each other, just gently waking up your body from that resting pose. And then when you feel ready, you can slowly start to find your way up into a seat. Just finding your own easy way up. Finding an easy seat. And where do you feel you could leave your hips, your back, your shoulders soft. Where you could take a few more breaths in and out to slowly close the practice. If it's a part of your practice, bring your palms together in front of the chest. And as always, at the end of the practice, most importantly, thank yourself for finding this time to look after yourself, to move, to breathe. And I thank you very much for joining in, for sharing the practice. Namaste. Thank you.